स्वागत है, अभिनंदन है। जैसा कि आपको पूर्व 2 दिनों से महापुरुषों के उपदेशों का श्रवण करने का सौभाग्य प्राप्त हो रहा है, उनके आप दर्शन भी कर रहे हैं और श्याम श्यामा के लीला उसके तत्व का भी आप विमर्श सुन रहे हैं। आज भी आप लोगों को महापुरुषों के जो यहाँ पर वृंदावन से पधार रहे हैं, राजस्थान से पधार रहे हैं, उनके दर्शन भी आपको करने का सौभाग्य प्राप्त होगा और उनके द्वारा आप उस सिद्धांत का, जिस सिद्धांत को जीवन में स्वीकार करने के बाद तृप्ति हो जाती है, आपके जीवन से सारे राग द्वेषादि विकार समाप्त हो जाते हैं और आप आनंद की उस स्थिति में पहुंच जाते हैं जिसको परब्रह्म का स्वरूप कहा गया है। उसका भी आप श्रवण करेंगे। हमारे साथ इस मंच पर विराजमान महापुरुष, जिनमें सर्वप्रथम मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं इस पवित्र स्थान गोलोक धाम के आचार्य प्रवर श्री धर्मरत्न गोपाल शरण देवाचार्य जी महाराज, जिनकी प्रेरणा से ये कार्यक्रम प्रारंभ हुआ है और भविष्य में भी इसकी योजना संकल्पबद्ध है उनका, और साथ में अमेरिका से पधारे हुए उन महापुरुषों का, जो महापुरुष शिव तत्व के प्रति पूर्ण रूप से समर्पित हैं और देश विदेश में हिंदुत्व का, हिंदू धर्म के रहस्यों का, उस सनातन वैदिक धर्म का प्रचार कर रहे हैं, जिसमें हम सभी समर्पित हैं, जिसके प्रति हम सभी संबद्ध हैं। गुरु महासन्निधानम श्री बोधिनाथ जी वेलनस्वामी, जो कि नंदीनाथ संप्रदाय हिंदू एकेडमी और कोई आधीनम हवाई यूएसए के इस समय वर्तमान आचार्य हैं, और उनके साथ में विराजमान हैं परमाचार्य पलामी स्वामी जी महाराज। और भी आपको परम श्रद्धेय काशनी श्री स्वामी गुरु शरणानंद जी महाराज के दर्शन भी होंगे, और उसके बाद आप महामंडलेश्वर श्री स्वामी स्वरूपानंद जी महाराज, जो गुजरात से पधार रहे हैं, उनके भी आप दर्शन करेंगे। तो ये आज का कार्यक्रम आपके समक्ष है। आप लोग सब शांत भाव से यहाँ पर बैठकर महापुरुषों का श्रवण करिए। आप सभी का जो यहाँ पर उपस्थित हैं, यहाँ के ब्रह्मचारी वृंद और आस्था के माध्यम से हम लोगों से जुड़े हुए श्याम श्यामा प्रिय भक्त वृंद, हम सभी का इस कार्यक्रम में, जो कि निम्बार्क महोत्सव के रूप में मनाया जा रहा है, उसमें हम स्वागत करते हैं। सर्वप्रथम मैं श्री ब्रज बिहारी शरण जी से प्रार्थना करता हूं कि वे अपने उसी क्रम को जो श्री चक्राचार्य निम्बार्क जी महाराज ने दशश्लोकी के रूप में द्वैताद्वैत सिद्धांत की व्याख्या करते हुए, और उसको बिल्कुल हम लोगों के लिए सामान्य भाषा में, सामान्य शब्दों में और 10 श्लोकों में बांध कर रखा है, उसका उद्धरण लेते हुए और कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाएं। परम श्रद्धेय ब्रज बिहारी शरण जी महाराज।
नवीन नीरदश्यामं नीलेन्दीवरलोचनं वल्लवे नन्दनं वन्दे श्रीकृष्णं गोपालरूपिणम्। नमस्तस्मै भगवते कृष्णाय कुण्ठमेधसे श्रीराधाधर सुधा सिन्धो नमो नित्यविहारिणे हे निम्बार्क दयानिधे गुणनिधे हे भक्त चिंतामणे हे आचार्य शिरोमणेर्मुनिगणेर् आमृग्यपादाम्बुज हे सृष्टि स्थिति पालक प्रभवन हे नाथ मायाधिप हे गोवर्धन कंधरालय विभो मां पाहि सर्वेश्वर आनन्दमानन्दकरं प्रसन्नम् ज्ञानस्वरूपं निजभावयुक्तं योगीन्द्रमीड्यं भवरोगवैद्यं श्रीमद्गुरुं नित्यमहं स्मरामि श्रीमद्गुरुं नित्यमहं स्मरामि। बोले ठाकुर श्री राधा गोलोक बिहार जी भगवान की जय। भगवान श्री निम्बार्क आचार्य जी महाराज की जय। श्री सद्गुरुदेव जी महाराज की जय। जय जय श्री राधे श्याम। First and foremost, I prostrate myself humbly before the ocean of bliss, the repository of causeless mercy, master of past, present and future, the creator, preserver and withdrawer of all created matter and beings, in whose hands we rest every single second of every day of our lives and beyond. Thakur Shri Radha Golok Bihar Ji. I fall at the feet of Bhagavan Shri Nimbark Acharya Ji, the incarnation of the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord, who incarnated with the sole purpose of helping mankind to relieve itself from its daily sufferings and to realize the path of eternal bliss. I prostrate humbly before our revered Sri Satguru Dev Ji Maharaj, a tireless worker of Sanatan Dharma, whose causeless grace, whose benevolence knows no bounds, no limits, and has pulled many of us onto a stage of complete happiness. I pay my respects also to our visiting guests, our holy friends from Hawaii, the most revered Guru Mahasannidhanam of the Kauai Adhinam, Shri Bodhinatha Veylanswami ji, and also the Paramacharya of the Kauai Adhinam, Shri Palaniswami ji, and to all of the revered guests who preside over us on the stage, as well as all of our wonderful devotees in attendance here in Shri Golok Dham Ashram, as well as in their homes via Aastha television. I bid every one of you here today, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. For the past few days we have been celebrating the 5,106th appearance day of Bhagavan Shri Nimbark Acharya, which will happen on Kartik Purnima, Shukla Purnima, which will be on Sunday. And his greatest gift to mankind was the Dashashloki, as Jagat Guru Shri Sriji Maharaj Ji was saying yesterday. The entire corpus of Vedanta is seemingly a very high mountain, very difficult terrain to cross. Yet Bhagavan Nimbarka descended from that mountain of spirituality onto the plains of the earth amongst the normal hard-working people, the normal busy people, the normal students, the normal workers, and gave every single human being on this planet a chance to taste immortality just by learning a few points of spirituality and imbibing those principles into their daily lives. Due to time constraints, the explanation of these verses have been somewhat mixed. Sriji Maharaj himself explained a few verses, as well as Sri Satguru Devji Maharaj. On the first day, we had an introduction to these verses, and I'm sure soon in the next 2 days we'll be able to hear more of the nectarian wisdom of Nimbark Bhagavan. For today, we have 3 eminent speakers, 2 of whom will be here with us shortly. His Holiness Karshni Mahamandaleshwar Shri Guru Sharananand Swamiji, and also from Sihor in Gujarat, Gautameshwar Mahadev Peets Mahamandaleshwar Swami Shri Swarupanandji Saraswati. But before they bless us with their nectarian words, our revered Shri Bodhinatha Swamiji will now address all of us, giving us his blessings and giving us a message that will, I'm sure, beautify and enliven our lives. Shri Bodhinath Swamiji. Boliye Shri Radha Golok Vihar Ji Lal Ki Jai.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadi Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Brahmachari. His Divine Grace, Dharma Ratna Swami Shri Gopal Sharan Devacharya Ji Maharaj. To our respected Swamis who are yet to arrive, dignitaries and devotees, Paramacharya Palani Swami and I are pleased to be a part of the celebration of Bhagavan Nimbarkacharya's 5,106th incarnation anniversary here at Shri Golok Dham Ashram in New Delhi. We first met Swami Shri Gopal Sharan when he visited our monastery in Hawaii in May 2007. We were initially impressed that his tradition, while being very orthodox in his own practice and denomination, has a very open spirit of brotherhood with all other denominations of Hinduism. We then had the opportunity to fulfill his invitation to visit Shri Golok Dham Ashram, Delhi, just for a few hours in February 2008, and now we're here again. In preparation for this talk, we did some homework on the Sri Nimbarka philosophy. We were pleasantly surprised to find similarities between Sri Nimbarka's philosophy of Dvaita, Advaita, and our own tradition as expounded by my guru, Sivaya Subramanya Swami, who attained Mahasamadhi in November 2001. Though the Sri Nimbarka tradition is Vaishnava and ours is Saiva, the concept of the Supreme Being is definitely similar. Let me explain. Nimbarka tradition. The eternal form of God is Radha Krishna. Krishna is the Lord of love, and Radha the power of love. They are inseparable from each other. Our own tradition, God Shiva is pure love and compassion, eminent and transcendent, pleased by our purity and sadhana. Shakti is God Shiva's inseparable power and manifest will, energy, or mind. Very similar concepts. We found one concept on Nimbarka's viewpoint of the Upanishads that exactly reflected our own viewpoint. Let me quote from my Guru's teachings on this. Scholars have long noted that the Upanishads are alternately monistic, describing the oneness of the individual soul and God, and theistic, describing the reality of the personal God. Both strict monism and dualism are fatally flawed, for neither alone encompasses the whole of the truth. In other words, it is not a choice between the God is man and worldview of pantheistic monism, and the God is separate from man and worldview of theistic dualism. It is both. Nimbarka's philosophy encompasses this dual viewpoint of the Upanishads and is, of course, Dvaita Advaita. The tradition we follow also encompasses this dual viewpoint and is called Advaita Ishvaravada, or in Western terms, monistic theism. Monistic theism is the synthesis of monism and dualism. It says God is transcendent and immanent, eternal and temporal, being and becoming, creator and created, absolute and relative, efficient and material cause. So those are very abstract concepts, so I developed a simple explanation to show what we have in mind here. The easiest way to explain our concept of monistic theism is to explain the morning sadhanas at our monastery in Hawaii. We have a group of 20 monks, and in the morning we start our day with a half-hour puja to Lord Shiva as an expression of our devotion to Him and praise of Him. This, of course, is our theism. We then have a 1-hour meditation in which we go deeply inside ourselves through the practice of Ashtanga Yoga in search of that part of us which is always one with Lord Shiva. That is our monism. As publisher of our international magazine, Hinduism Today, we are often invited to different temples in the United States and other Western countries. As I am sure many of you know, roughly 35 years ago, the first temples were built in traditional South or North Indian styles in Western countries and staffed with priests from India. It began naturally in the larger cities such as New York and Pittsburgh. In more recent years, temples are also being built in medium-sized cities. The temples vary quite a bit in size and workmanship. Certainly some of the most impressive are the temples built by the BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha of intricately carved marble and limestone. The first BAPS temple was built in London in 1995, and more recently they have built temples in Toronto, Canada, Houston, Atlanta, and Chicago in the USA. Our Guru, the late Sivaya Subramanya Swami, helped a number of temples in North America as well as other countries get started, a total of 37 temples in all. He did this by sending them a medium-sized Ganesha Murti. Gurudeva instructed them to keep the Murti in the family homes and do a weekly puja, which all those interested in building the temple could attend. We recently attended the Kumbhabhishekam for the Mahaganapati Temple of Arizona. My Guru gifted them a Ganesha in 1999, so it took some 9 years for the temple to manifest. Swami Shri Gopalcharan Devacharya is definitely a great temple builder himself. Swamiji has to date consecrated 72 temples, big and small, 30 of them in the United Kingdom. Temples have been established in Nottingham, Manchester, London, Toronto, and many more cities. Projects are moving forward in Los Angeles and Dublin, and devotees have recently initiated a temple in Munich, Germany for him. While the temples are not part of his own organization or even necessarily belong to the Nimbarka Sampradaya, Swamiji readily provides assistance in any way he can. As a respected saint, he is on the advisory board of many temples, and Swamiji's goal is to ultimately create 108 temples in the service of Sanatana Dharma. A unique aspect of many of these temples established in Western countries is that they have shrines for all the deities of Saivism, Saktism, Vaishnavism, and sometimes even Mahavir for Jainism, all in one temple. This is being done on the basis that the Indian community is too small to have multiple temples for different deities, so they put them all in the same temple. In visiting these temples, I have an opportunity to observe how the temple is developing, as well as talk to its volunteer staff. Many of them, unfortunately, are facing a significant challenge, which can be understood simply by studying the demographics of a typical group of devotees at a temple. Usually, there are many more women than men. Young children are present with their parents, but teenagers are missing. In other words, children often stop coming to the temple when they reach age 13 or so. I wrote an opinion piece for our magazine, Hinduism Today, a few years ago on this topic. It is describing temples in North America, but the problem is not just limited to them. To quote it, "There is no doubt Hindu first-generation immigrants to North America who love to participate in the temples they build and often bring their children, the second generation, with them. But a question to ponder is, will we find the third generation present in these same holy sanctuaries?" Why does this question arise? It arises because so many first-generation Hindus have shared with us their surprise and concern that their children have no interest whatsoever in the temple once they reach their teens. And if they have no interest, certainly they will not encourage their children, the third generation, to participate in temple worship. A few years ago, I received an email which provides a real-life example of this problem. It says, the temple trustees are getting old and reaching their retirement age, and so they want to hand it over to the next generation. But I don't see any next generation coming to the temple. None of their children are here at the temple, so I don't know who will take on the torch. Such is the sad state of affairs at our temple. Passing on Hindu traditions to the younger generation is a duty that seems to be more difficult to fulfill in today's globalized society. A few hundred years ago in India, the temple hosted the most interesting activities in the village. Dramas, dances, musical concerts, and the pageantry of regular festivals all drew significant crowds, as the events had no competition. In today's global society, competition abounds. There are movies filled with stunning special effects, television, the internet with its endless ramifications, and computer games, all of which fill hours of many children's daily life, significantly influencing their values, beliefs, and attitudes. Another factor is that many children in Western countries are growing up in communities where Hindus are a small minority. So these children tend to take on the interests of their non-Hindu peers. Let me insert a story here about training children in Hinduism that one of our devotees shared with us. He was responsible in a large city, it was in Singapore actually, for training the children. So what he found was that the parents dropped their children off, went shopping for 2 hours, came back, and expected the teachers to have made their children better Hindus. They were trying to delegate the whole responsibility. Well, this approach works well for some things. It works well for learning how to sing, for musical instruments, for dancing. The parents don't need to know how to do these skills. But for religion, it doesn't work at all. Well, why is that? It's because for religion to work, it needs to be part of the whole family routine, particularly for younger children. You can't expect children to practice religion if their parents aren't doing it. So that's our point, is that it can't be delegated. So I have a question. Hinduism is in no way more dynamically strengthened in the lives of children and the family than by? What would you think? What is it that strengthens Hinduism the most in the family? Well, the answer we're seeking, because we found it to be true in a number of cases, is the most important way to establish Hinduism in the home and in the lives of the children is by having a shrine room in the home. Nothing is important as the home shrine for conveying religion to children. A number of Hindus have told us that what kept them a staunch practicing Hindu, despite exposure in their youth to other religious traditions, such as by going to Catholic school or elsewhere, was the fact that the entire family practiced Hinduism together in the home. Establishing a shrine room in the home definitely makes it much easier for the family to practice Hinduism together in the home than not having one at all. So here's some personal testimony from a book of ours called What is Hinduism? Excuse me one moment. Every Hindu family in our village had a home shrine where the family members worshiped their gods. Even the poorest set a place for this. Rituals are periodic celebrations which are religious and spiritual in character, and they address the inward feelings rather than outward. Such pujas and rituals give an individual a chance to pause, look inward, and concentrate on something more meaningful, more profound than mere materialism and the daily drudgery of life. Worships and rejoicings in the name of God, fasting and observances of special days enable people to look beyond the day-to-day life to a larger scheme of things. In the best homes I know, the father performs the rites daily and the family joins and assists. I guess it's like the old adage, the family that prays together stays together. Even in the busy rat race of life in cosmopolitan cities like Mumbai or Los Angeles, there are many Hindus who perform at least a mini puja daily. They claim that even the small ritual of a few minutes a day makes them concentrate, feel elevated spiritually, brings their minds on an even keel, enabling them to perform better in their line of work. The home shrine works best when it is an entire room. That way it can be strictly reserved for worship and meditation, unsullied by worldly talk or other activities. This is the ideal. However, when that is not possible, it should at least be a quiet corner of a room and more than a simple shelf or closet. Make the shrine a refuge for all family members, where they can find peace and solace, where they can connect with the gods and offer their praise, prayers, and practical needs. How elaborate should the puja conducted in the home shrine be? It can vary from short and simple to long and complex. The late and renowned Shri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Mahaswamiji of Kanchipuram, Kamakoti Peedam, commented on the home puja as follows. Very nice statement. He says, every family must perform puja to Ishvara. Every single family. Those who find it convenient to do so may conduct elaborate types of puja after receiving proper initiation into them. Others need perform only a brief puja, not lasting more than 10 minutes or so. Office goers must offer at least this brief worship. The sacred bell must ring in every home. Clearly, the ideal is for all members of the family to gather together in the shrine room for a morning puja. Some suggestions as to other times to visit the home shrine are: visiting the shrine before leaving the home helps remind us that work is worship. In other words, it helps us maintain a religious perspective during our time out of the home. Visiting the shrine upon returning to the home is helpful in dropping off any worldliness we have taken on during our time away from home. You can even train your children to worship in the shrine before any important event in their life, such as a major exam at school. A good response to becoming upset is to visit the shrine and with the blessings of God